is a little bit before 9 a.m. here Thursday morning, and I just wanted to come to you with a little short message about being the American that you want America to be. Look, a lot of us feel a lot of different ways right now about the election results. Some of us are happy, some of us are not, and that's just pretty much, I think, always true every election cycle. Some of us feel elation, positivity, and happiness right now. Some of us feel anger, frustration, and fear. And if you happen to be one of the people that's feeling any fear, one thing I want to share with you that I've learned in my life is that behind fear, right, behind the energy of fear is the person that you want to be. Behind the energy of fear is the person you want to be. And what I mean by that is, if you remember science class, nothing in life is destroyed. Everything is just transferred, right? Energy is not destroyed, it is only transferred. You burn a piece of wood, it's not destroyed. It transfers into a different state, a different kind of energy. And so when we feel fear as humans, and I've felt fear many times in my life, and I think it's an emotion that we will regularly revisit as humans. But when I have felt fear in my life, something that I've learned is that it is an energy. There is an energy to it, right? It's like if you're walking down an alley, it's dark, and suddenly you hear a noise and you feel fear. That's an energy that can help you survive. Well, one thing that you can do with fear day to day is recognize it when it's there, and then harness it and transfer it into a different energy state. And like I said, behind fear is oftentimes the person that you actually want to be, stepping into it and taking action in spite of it or even with it, if that makes sense. You with me? If you're afraid to put something out into the world because you're afraid of rejection, because you're afraid that people are going to think you're corny or cringe, and you feel fear around that, lean into that, because being the person that ships that, puts that out, is the person that you probably want to be, right? When we feel fear about maybe trying to reach out to somebody for a job, invite somebody out on a date, the person who reaches out for the job, reaches out to sell their service if you're an entrepreneur, reaches out to invite somebody on a date, that's actually the person that we want to be. You with me? And so one thing that I've begun to use in my life is that whenever I feel fear, I almost see it as like a guide, right? Like a flashing light for the direction I need to go into, the direction I need to lean into. Because on the other side of that fear is the person that I want to be, if that makes sense. So my message is simple that I want to share with y'all today is just simply, if you're feeling any kind of energy that most of us would objectively label as negative, fear, frustration, anger, please do remember that you can also harness that energy and transfer it into a different kind of state. And that state is getting a result that you want in life. That's why you hear motivational speakers and gurus and such talk about, use that anger to fuel you, use that fear to fuel you, use that frustration to fuel you, right? Enough is enough. That's what's really being talked about there from a metaphysical perspective and from a science thermodynamics perspective. So use whatever feeling you're feeling right now. Use the energy of whatever feeling that you're feeling right now, positive or negative, to be the American that you want America to be. Are you with me? So to all my Republican friends out there, now is not the time for division and anger against our fellow man. Perhaps it is time for accountability, anger towards elected leaders and government organizations. That I understand. But not towards our fellow man just because they belong to a political party that is not our own. Are you guys with me? If you have any anger, point it at leadership, not at your fellow citizen. If you're a Democrat, to my Democratic friends, now's not the time to think that just because Trump got elected, then that means half the country is all the words that they've being called by mainstream media: garbage, right, racist, etc. It's not true. It really isn't. Because here's the deal: at the end of the day, if I were a Republican, I know that if I was hungry, a Democrat would feed me. If I was thirsty, a Democrat would give me something to drink. If I was a Democrat, I know at the end of the day that a Republican would also feed me if I was starving, give me something to drink if I was dying of thirst. Let's not forget each other's humanity in the midst of our heightened and amplified awareness around the meaning of events. You dig? You get what I'm saying? Remember that we do, and this is of course easy to say if you're not feeling frustrated, but remember that we do control the meaning of events. That is one of the things that we actually are capable of doing with our mind that no other species is, which is that we can take an event, an experience, and choose what meaning it's going to have, what meaning we're going to give it. And so remember, we have the power to give meaning to any event, any experience in our lives, in the world, and how it relates to us. Regardless of what party you're in, regardless of your color, creed, or kind, be the American that you would want America to be. If we all individually do that, this country's future looks incredibly bright.